This clip of JD Vance from last night should alone be enough to disqualify the Republican presidential ticket from the 2024 race. In this clip, JD Vance not only throws Trump under the bus by describing how his coup attempt failed, but he lays out the exact steps he would have taken if he were in Mike Pence's shoes on January 6th of 2021 to help Trump subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the election results. So I reiterate, and I say it firmly, this clip alone should get JD Vance and Donald Trump disqualified from the 2024 race. We have a lot of news to break down since the debate is tonight, and we don't have a lot of time, so all that I ask is that you leave a like on the video below and make sure you're subscribed to the Mockler channel. So before we jump into this January 6th clip, can I show you this clip of Obama that is currently being aired on Fox News by the Kamala Harris campaign? Just picture in your head Donald Trump this morning getting ready for the debate, watching Fox News, and this ad of Obama pops up. Watch.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems.
Oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. America's ready for a new chapter. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So obviously this ad would have been funny no matter when it was released, but I think this was basically a chess move by releasing it this morning on Fox News, the morning of the debate. So again, imagine Donald Trump getting ready, struggling to put his pants on in the morning because he's getting old, and in the background, he hears Obama's voice on the TV, and he looks and he sees Obama making the joke, and he knows that 6 hours later he has to take the debate stage with Vice President Kamala Harris. I think that's a really clever tactic to poke and prod at him in the perfect way and at the perfect time. We'll see if it affects the way he acts on stage tonight. Before I show you the January 6th clip, I want to show you this clip of JD Vance being asked why Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris. Watch.
But there seems to be a widespread recognition, and like you're saying, Dick Cheney was kind of demonized as this like the Darth Vader, Prince of Darkness type figure, which I think basically was right. I mean, he was the principal architect of the Iraq War.
And now I find myself agreeing with everything the Democrats said in 2008 about Dick Cheney.
Right.
Total coincidence.
On a separate track, a few weeks ago, we had Bobby Kennedy endorse Donald Trump. So you now have a dynamic where the Bush Republicans are now Harris Democrats, and the Kennedy Democrats are now Trump Republicans.
No. That is so far from reality. RFK Jr. is not a Kennedy Democrat. In fact, the entire Kennedy family endorsed President Biden while he was running, and then subsequently endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. So the idea that the one defector, RFK Jr., he represents what a Kennedy Democrat is absolutely insane. And no, Dick Cheney is not a Harris Democrat anymore. Dick Cheney is not at all a Democrat. Dick Cheney just likes democracy and can acknowledge that Donald Trump poses a fundamental threat to the way that American democracy functions.
Right. Clearly, something big is happening in our politics here. Can you explain this realignment? How do you?
Yeah, the big thing happening in our politics is that we have a candidate who is an actual threat to democracy. And I feel like those words ring hollow when I just say threat to democracy without actually explaining that Donald Trump tried to call election officials across the country and pressure them into finding votes. He tried to pressure his VP into choosing fake slates of electors. When none of that worked, he held a rally on January 6th to try to confuse and sow chaos and disrupt the peaceful transfer of power. So when I say the words threat to democracy, I'm not just throwing those out there. We have actual actions that Donald Trump has taken. You guys know that, but this is for the Trumpers in the audience.
See it.
Yeah, I mean, look, one way to think about it is that we traded Dick Cheney for Bobby Kennedy, and that's an upgrade I'll take every single day.
It must feel so good for JD Vance to get some sort of applause from his fellow tech bros, because that doesn't happen often. Whenever he goes to his own Trump rallies, the crowd is usually awkwardly silent at his jokes. Whenever he goes into hostile environments like the firefighters union, he gets booed. So finally, good for him, he gets some cheers from his fellow tech bros. Now, I want to show you this clip of JD Vance talking about how he would have acted on January 6th and how it would have been different from how Mike Pence acted.
But two, the reason...
He was asked to not certify it.
Sure.
So would you have certified? I'll ask you for the third.
Again, I would have asked the states to submit alternative slates of electors and let the country have the debate about what actually matters and what kind of an election that we have.
You
in
wouldn't
these
have
important
certified,
states.
to be clear.
I would have asked the states to submit alternative slates of
I think
electors. That's what I would have done. Again, I've said that publicly many times. But again, Jason, the important part is we would have had a big debate. And it doesn't necessarily mean the results would have been
Okay, JD Vance is being so slimy here. He's saying that we should have let the country have the debate about who should be president before certifying it. The country did have the debate at the polls on November 7th, and Biden won that debate. Donald Trump then debated 60-plus courts about whether or not the elections were false or rigged, and all of the courts shot him down. He lost all of those debates as well. So JD Vance is being so slippery, and he's being authoritarian when he says the country should have had the chance to debate the results. We did, over and over and over. Donald Trump just couldn't accept them. And what JD Vance is doing right here is saying that the VP should have the unilateral ability to throw slates of electors either back to the states, where the red states would have chosen Trump, or back to the House, where the House was red, so they would have chosen Trump as well. So JD Vance is speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's trying so hard not to say out loud that he wouldn't have certified the results, but he is saying in many words that he wouldn't have certified the results. He would have allowed Donald Trump to win. So it is a slimy way of saying he would have overthrown the results of the last election, but political doublespeak is not new in the Trump world. Here's one of the Project 2025 architects going on CNN and being eviscerated, letting out a Freudian slip. Just listen to this.
We're picking up where he left off in the first term. A lot of us have worked there and we're frustrated. I mean, what Project 2025 really is, it's not a threat to democracy, it's a threat to bureaucracy. It's putting the American, we the people, back into our government. Right now we have a permanent government in Washington, and this is the essence of a call to people to come serve in Washington. It's Kennedy-esque. It's really, and that's what's so exciting to see, like RFK Jr. and the rest joining the Trump fold.
Did you hear that slip up right there? That was definitely a Freudian slip. He tries to say RFK joined the Trump fold, but he calls it the Heritage Foundation. Listen one more time.
Jr. and the rest joining the Trump fold is that this is a coming together.
Quite the Freudian slip there. And can I just say, he says something earlier in this clip to the effect of, it's not a threat to democracy, it's a threat to bureaucracy. But what happens when you cut why are these balloons popping up? What happens when you cut 70% of our federal workforce? Donald Trump wants to tear down the very institutions that have held up the foundations of our democracy since the inception of America, but then he's going to say he's not a threat to democracy, even though he wants to eradicate the Department of Education. He wants to put loyalists in the FBI, the DOJ. Donald Trump absolutely would tear down these institutions that hold up our democracy, and that would ruin our country. We have to keep hammering this home and keep calling JD Vance and Donald Trump out as a threat to democracy that they are, because we're, 54 days out from the election, so we have to stay on message. Either way, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment hi Adam if you made it this far. I read all the comments, and I love to see your guys' names recurring in the comment section. Even if I can't respond to them every single time, I notice them, I pay attention. Also, we just dropped a bunch of new Cat Power for Kamala merch the day of the debate. It's all in the description below. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.